All right, let's do it live on a Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. What was your one biggest takeaway from Indy?
Just in general, or
I think it's amazing you didn't even flinch. Like, we never get into it like this.
just in general,
were just
or
like,
related
let's
to the
go, dude.
Well, you asked a pretty.
What
Listen, this is it.
This isn't what we do.
This is a new era. This is
new
an
era.
era of ask a question, get an answer.
Get a direct answer.
You asked a question. You wanted an answer.
You're sure ready to go.
I'm good. I miss you. I missed
I've
you
missed
yesterday.
you just one day, but we were here audibly. We were here.
In a New York minute,
Yeah,
everything can change. So think about how long a day is.
just like that.
Yeah,
Just like that,
cramping
brother.
My style a little bit. Let me move it over there.
How was your drive?
Honestly, pretty quick. I had a bunch of good phone calls. I listened to The Miz on the Undertaker's podcast, which actually was very entertaining listen
Yeah.
for me. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Is he still in town, by the way?
No, he was here just I missed him
He was
because
signing at the auto show.
signing at the auto show. Yeah, my tag team partner, the great Josh Bishop, was going to go and say hello, but he ended up not being able to do so. It was pretty uneventful. It was good. I would say I saw 10% of the cops that I saw on the way to Indy.
I only saw there and back one highway patrol.
It's incredible.
From either state.
I saw 0 in Ohio on the way home. 0, not 1.
Not one. Yeah, I didn't see either from any the whole way. I saw one Indiana state trooper or whatever they're called on the way back, but not one on the way over. Which I guess it must have been in the morning they were out because you guys were left earlier than me
Yep.
on Monday, and so you had a steady diet. I did not.
Yeah. The only one I saw on the way back, I think, was actually right when you just get outside of Indy, and there's that one where they kind of hide in that middle.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's like a forest in the middle
Yeah.
for a second. That was it. That's all that I saw. And then it was after that, very, very smooth sailing.
How do you feel about I made the bold claim, I think it was Tuesday, that it's the stupidest entrance to a state in the history of the United States is the Ohio-Indiana border and everything that it has on display for you as you cross over?
I would say it another way. I would say it's
You'd
the
invert it.
stupidest exit of a state because you don't get the ads for the Fudge Factory in Ohio as you
There's
enter
one.
in. Maybe there's
Just
one.
one.
Okay, but on your
On the
way
way
out, it is
Every half mile.
every joke that they think that they can make. Like
All of them.
whatever
Yeah.
11-year-old they got to do their branding.
Crushing it.
Yeah, just pulled everything that he had out. As
They
say,
write themselves.
They do write themselves. So
Yeah.
I think it's the most absurd exit of a state ever. Like in the one that they have where the sign, it's like literally it's right next to the giant cross, which it is. There's like a 60-foot
No,
cross.
yeah, that's the store.
Yeah, and the store's literally
Right at the feet, the base of the 60-foot cross, and it is across the parking lot from a fireworks display, a fireworks
Yes, which
store of
looks massive.
and it's adjacent to an entire field of solar panels.
Yes, it's
Like that's welcome to Indiana.
So-
Oh, by the way, we're going to close the freeway, and we are working on it. Although there's no proof that they're doing any work.
So
it
that's
just
why
appears
I
that
was
it's
more
just closed.
focused on the exit because coming in, I didn't even notice it because you had to
You
get shipped
immediately
over,
were- yeah.
and they didn't really hype it the way that like going out. It's like okay, like I get it.
Yeah.
it's a fudge factory named after a planet. Okay, you can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean we've discussed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's the most absurd exit, and considering what like. As you know, as somebody who surfs the internet and sees limitations that are placed upon you, like the what Indiana purports
Well
to
done.
stand for, it is a very odd exit, like last memory that they want to leave you with.
I think it's fine if you want, however you want to phrase it, exit, entrance. I just think of it from I guess the reason I said entrance was if you had never been to Indiana before, and your first thoughts of, I wonder what Indiana's like,
Sure.
and you're going
For some
westbound.
reason, I missed it going in, though.
I think maybe you were on the phone or something, or you
Maybe.
were worried about the
The
shift over.
yeah,
I don't know.
I was.
Or you weren't thinking about it.
No,
Could have
but
been.
You
You're
could not
bombarded.
avoid it on the way out.
On the way out, you're bombarded.
Yeah.
with
Right.
it.
They're like, hey, if you missed the first 80 signs, here's 50 more.
And then it only adds to it because on the exiting Ohio sign it says Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel, and then I'm like, oh yeah, Tress is the Lieutenant Governor.
Unbelievable.
Used to host his coach's show.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Sure,
That's perfect. Yeah. So I think it's that. All right. We also learned that Elmo's doesn't know how to cook steak, or prime rib, I should say.
It's just not, and they don't. It what we look.
There's a standard.
We just needed
they
to
ignore the
say-
standard.
We just needed to stay with what we wanted to stay with, and we did it. So while it is on them, it's on us. We have the knowledge.
It's not. It is on them because there is a standard
There is a standard.
for temperature of meats.
Yeah.
I will say
And
this.
How did yours?
Did you
turn
love
out?
your
We
steak?
never talked about it. I requested medium because I wanted
Yep.
medium rare. It was medium.
So
it
medium.
was
I thought
barely-
yours was.
Yours
'cause
was.
I didn't hear
when
you
they
order.
put it down, I was like, boy, that looks
awful
a little
medium.
more cooked than I was
than
banking
you were
on
banking
here.
on. So this is
Maybe
what
it's the
happens.
prime rib. Maybe it's the
prime
prime rib outlier.
They can't thread the needle.
We're gonna get it right. I'm determined.
I'm not ordering it again.
I will.
I know you will. And the au jus,
Could just
you
get-
still
you
will
could
eat
just
it.
get fish like Siciliano
Yeah.
at a steakhouse.
Well, he
you know.
did. Yeah, I mean, but there was what was the reason? Because he had sucked down all sorts of.
No, he went.
No, he had fish the night before too.
Oh, it's, no. It's because
No,
he
there
got
was
into
some
that
story-
super exclusive restaurant in New York.
He's the socialite,
Of course, the most popular guy in the Circle City.
clearly. Yeah.
Look, we're doing a show, folks. All right. He had gone to the place where he was served their famous burger, a
Yeah.
French dip, and a steak.
Yes, and so he was.
So it was like turf,
beefed out.
turf and turf. Yeah, so he was beefed out. Now, I didn't get to talk with you about this, but then the last night, me, Simze,
Yep.
Siciliano.
Did he recognize
and-
me from the plane? Did you ask him?
So yes, we talked about it, and then he's like, I walked off the plane, and then I felt so bad. I should have I was meant.
So
I
he
meant
did
in my
okay.
mind to wait at the top of the jetway to say
Yeah.
hi to Bo.
Well, it was late flight.
And then he's like, I walked out, and then I was like, oh man, I didn't do
Yeah.
that. So he said, please
Yeah.
give him my regards.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
he did recognize you. He
Yeah.
was thrilled to see you. So it was me, Simze, Siciliano, and Donnie, and
God, Donnie, that's the guy right
Donnie
there.
Weir. Oh yeah,
Jeez.
Oh, yeah,
I like,
he
big
had
fan
on-
of that guy.
he had on a rose gold,
Sure, he did. I already know. Yeah.
which he was quite pleased. It's the only other person I've ever seen have that's the cook. Cook's got one of those.
Short list.
Yeah, short list. Cook, in fact, was so moved by that gift. He and his wife both turned 60 the same year.
Okay.
That he was so moved by that gift that he responded by getting her a vehicle.
Well,
I said, well, where did we stop here, Cook?
that seems like a relatively fair.
It was not
exchange.
as outrageous an exchange as you might think.
Yeah, I
it
think
would
that
be.
that's probably a
Yes.
little. That's probably could be okay.
Yes, was
Anyway,
not-
so you
anyway.
guys had a great meal.
So we had a great meal. So I like to do a little menu surfing before I
Yeah.
go in there.
Prepared.
And we'd just come off the prime rib. So it's Ocean Air, fine restaurant. I think they're in a few cities around.
Okay.
Seafood forward, seafood centric, I would say. Great oysters.
It's called Ocean Air.
Ocean Air, yeah. Great oysters.
Okay.
We had a fun thing with the waitress where I asked if she said they had, East Coast, West Coast. Said, do they have any of the cushy? And she's like, no, they're not mushy. And I'm like, no, like the cush. And she said, no, we have the Kumamotos, which were a delight. Got some oysters.
interesting.
I think they are in more cities than just Indianapolis. I'm pretty sure there's one in New York.
Are you sure that's the name?
Ocean A-I-R-E. Ocean Air.
AIRE.
Yeah. And yes, I am.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, here you go. It was the E that was really.
yeah, so
strong.
go ahead and if
Oh
you
no,
can
no. This is an airplane.
pop
I got portable. The Ocean Air Seafood Room.
there you go.
One word, not two. One.
Yeah, one word.
I didn't. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Very good.
Yeah. I didn't. I guess I did. How would we know? We were just saying
wouldn't.
Ocean Air
Yeah,
back
you
and forth.
wouldn't. So there is one. None in Ohio. Yeah, a couple in the D.C. area. One in Boston. One in Minneapolis.
New York or no?
There's
maybe-
one in Dallas. One in Orlando. No. Yeah. I guess. No. None
no.
in New York.
Then
None in
DC,
New
I've
York.
had it. I've
Yeah.
had it somewhere else.
Two in D.C.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I went in, and then one of their specials, like they call it. How about this? Look at this.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, they
There
got
it is.
they instead of happy hour, they call it the Admiral's Hour, which I like that. I like that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Admirals,
the
big Navy
maritime.
guys. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. That's definitely that was really good. Are you on their menu? Do you
I
see
am,
where
yeah,
on the
I can see
specials?
it.
See if you can pick out what I would order, knowing me like you do.
On the specials,
It was in
so
the
there's
like
a
or like
sushi.
no, not in the sushi.
Then there's
Go-
ice raw
keep going.
bar.
There's somewhere they call it like their
Oysters.
features. Oysters were delightful.
Apps.
Yep, we're through the apps.
Soups and salads. Ocean Air Originals.
Yeah, comes from that menu. Yep, sure does. And it was
I think
I saw it. I've never even heard of anything like it, and so I'm like, I'm doing this. It's a done deal.
I feel like on this list that you would have the spicy blue crab Louis Capellini.
Close.
Dang it.
But no. Start at the top.
Chicken fried lobster.
Start at the top.
No, that's
Start
not.
right
Oh,
at
the
the
sea bass ramen.
A sea bass ramen.
Soft boiled egg though.
No egg. Eggless. Hold the egg.
I was gonna say because as soon as I saw egg, I said
but
I'm out.
sea
He's not
bass,
gonna
a
want that.
nice like
Miso,
spicy miso
dashi broth on
and on the little and the noodles, and it was maron. It was
That
a
looks
delight.
all right.
Yeah, it was a delight.
Yeah, I would have done the yahi on that,
Oh,
or the
sure,
yellowfin. Yeah, the
Sure,
yellowfin.
sure.
Seared sesame crusted yellowfin.
Yeah,
is how I would have done
what's
that.
not to
So
like about that?
look
So
at
that was
Maybe
that
we got
ended
to
up,
bring one of these to our neck of the woods.
yeah, that was a delight. Then we go to Kilroy's.
Oh yeah, how was that?
We had a
How'd
great
you
time.
do, Gibby?
Nick Shook was in the house.
Just gonna tell you.
Yeah.
I don't need to ever go to Prime ever again.
I don't think so either. I think. Well,
Like-
I will say one of the great.
What do you mean? One of the great
Interactions
interactions we've ever had
of all
at the
time
combine
did
happened
happen
at
there.
Prime.
But
Yes.
if that didn't happen, then I agree with you.
That's the only reason to go.
Yeah, but
There's
that is
another
the
reason.
The
reason.
struggle to get a
There's
beverage,
another reason.
There's one more reason.
One more reason.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just telling you from a cost standpoint,
Of course.
what you get
Of course.
at Kilroy's versus what you get
Well,
at
I
the other
mean-
place.
Yeah, that would
That's
be the
like
case.
being like, I don't want to eat a hamburger from this place that Siciliano went because you can get a hamburger at McDonald's and it's.
No, that's
A
not
hamburger.
it. We're not talking about food. We're talking about beverages.
So I
Yeah, but
realize
you're
that.
Like,
paying
if
for the
I walk in-
You're
atmosphere.
paying for the ambiance.
Yeah.
I think we had a great ambiance.
I love Kilroy's.
Kilroy's.
I think that was the great way to do it. Kilroy's.
That's right. The G-Man said it. Sucks.
Kilroy's does.
No. Prime. That's
That-
right.
He should. I'll tell you this:
No.
if he would have been with us when we were at Prime and been a part of the interaction that we had,
You would not say that.
then I don't think you'd say
The
that.
coolest interactions I've ever had with head coaches in the NFL or people that like you just run into them and they're at Prime. That's where
Yes.
people are, and so that's where you get the chance to talk to them, have a drink with them, all of that. I don't try to go every time, and I don't necessarily need to go twice in one night, as that turned out to be very tough. Although I got to say, played like
You
a champion.
did a yeoman's effort.
I
Thank you
thought
very much.
you had the perfect mix of don't feel good, I'm okay to be here, it's Munkin's Day. Also, I kind of don't care. Like all of that.
Footloose and fancy
it was
free.
a real treat.
Oh well,
day.
I don't know if we're ever going to play it. I don't know if they'll ever see the light of day, but there is a 5-minute basically monologue I do where I'm trying to do some of the ins and outs.
The
where
intros
it
and the
just
outros
goes-
for yesterday's
yesterday.
show.
Yeah.
And it starts here, and it's a high quality.
Yeah, and then
And then it quickly. I
Well,
mean,
it-
and once
it-
the ball is rolling down the hill,
It did not
it
help.
is a full-on avalanche.
It did not help that there were young Gabriel, Dr. J. Starkey. There were enough people around that were laughing at everything.
Everybody was crying.
People were,
Even
it was
the,
like I was on fire.
you're on fire.
the
Just
Cowboys
that much
were right
fire.
next door. The guy was like, "You guys are a trip, man."
Yeah.
Like, this is great.
It was we did it at after at 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then it went. Are we going to play any of those? Are we maybe a private screening?
Private screening would be
100%.
the best way.
Because the video part of it, because we had it on video. I mean, at one point,
All right,
he's
I want to
laying
watch
on the
that.
table.
I
The
want to
whole
watch
thing
that.
needs to be.
Yeah, I
you're
want to
gonna
watch
need
that.
a
All right.
private.
Well,
private
maybe
screening.
if we have an opportunity, maybe if we play some. If we play some sound in here.
Oh, we got a lot. We got a lot.
I know.
Yeah,
that's-
we're good. We got
I
some
was,
good stuff.
I was,
Let's
I was
take
being
care of
say-
us on
I
a
was saying
Friday.
that facetiously. We'll go have a screening of that. So, but just great time. Then the last night, Kilroy's was a blast. Like
Yeah.
I said, Nick Shook saw former Browns people who are now scattered around the league. I had a great time. Young Gabriel was getting after some of those. They do those like the Long Island pictures.
Oh gosh,
Young Gabriel was
Gabriel with those beverages. We got to get you weaned off those.
I'll say I
The
think the
pineapple
fact that
margs and the Long Islands. I got to get you off those.
the fact that I never added a juice or sugar to anything that I drank in the entirety of the time that I was there was the main reason I was able to do what I was able to do.
Yeah, and tiger blood.
Well,
Both of those things.
built different, as the kids would say. Built
All right,
different.
what was your one big takeaway from Indy?
Yeah, we
League-wise.
get back there.
Let's get back there.
League-wise,
Sure.
the biggest
Draft-wise, league.
draft-wise would be, I'll give you 3 buckets. Draft-wise, the big takeaway is that this is not a top-heavy draft that from picks, 4 or 5 to picks 25 are all the same guy in terms of grades. It's just going to be how do you want to do that, and thus it is very unlikely that there will be many. Now, they didn't say that people won't be trading in the first round, but in the past you think, if you're moving in the first round, you have to get a first-round pick the next year, that people are not willing. People are not wanting to give up ones in 27, which, I mean, if you're the Jets, that knowledge for you is pretty good because you're the one team that's already loaded up for the 27 draft.
Yeah, because they have 2, right?
They have. How many do they have in this? They have 5 ones over this year and next year.
The Jets have 5 ones over
Is
the
that
next
young
2
Gabriel?
years?
Is it 3 this year, 2 next year, or vice versa? Yeah, 3 next year. Yeah, they
Oh, my
already have
God.
3.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they have 3 and 27.
That'll be the best job on the market next year.
Yes, 100%.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
So that was kind of the draft takeaway. Now, when you get Sonny Styles doing what he did, that maybe it raises the possibility that somebody would be so enamored that they want to go get him. Now, here's the thing. Field Yates said this, and this was really good. We actually had Field Yates said some good stuff. Emery Hunt from Football Game Plan said, I thought some really good stuff on the last day. Chris Rose, which we'll hear from, he said some great stuff. But Field Yates said this, and I thought it was really good because it's a simplistic way to explain why teams are sometimes hesitant at the top of drafts to use those picks on the positions that don't get paid the most.
Sure.
So, and he said, so basically you're given a token in the draft. You have this token.
Okay.
And that token can pick one of, we'll call it 10 widgets.
Okay.
That have an intrinsic value.
Yeah.
But your one token can buy any of these widgets for you.
Can buy anyone, yeah.
So there can be, the quarterback widget, let's say that that's what that turns out to be, that when you get your token, you're getting something that if it performs at a high level is now worth $50 million.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you could go to the other side.
It's a valued widget.
If you get, but your token, one token has the purchasing power to get any of them.
Any of them.
But you buy a safety, let's call it, a safety widget, and it performs at a high level. That's worth $16 million. Well, it turns out the value of your token is, we'll call it $11 million. Mm-hmm. So this one is then, you just made $39 million, and over here you made $5 million.
Yeah.
So that's why.
But over here on that one, you can also lose it all.
Well, you can lose on any of them.
And on this one that's 16, theoretically, maybe you can't. Maybe there's no scenario where.
But
it's
you
not
don't
there.
have
But you don't know. There are no.
All
guarantees.
you can lose though is the
That's
cost
right.
of your token.
Yeah.
In reality, that's all you can lose.
That's
is
all
the
you
cost
can
of
lose.
that token.
Yeah.
The upside is capped in certain positions, and so that's why you see, at 6, for example, if the Browns were wanting to trade back, it would have to be this is kind of, and this fits in that bucket what you heard. It would have to be somebody who said, we've got to have Caleb Downs, we've got to have Sonny Styles, or we've got to have Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
So those are 3 of the least valuable
Positions.
widgets to possess.
Off-ball, linebacker, running back, and
Safety.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really kind of just easy way to understand the positional value and why teams are hesitant. But at the same time, it is a good thing, a great football player.
Hey, they're good. That helps. Yeah.
You
wanna
don't go wrong drafting good football players.
No.
So we'll see how this plays out. Draft wise, I thought that it felt pretty to me consensus that if you are taking a receiver at 6, that's probably Carnell Tate.
Yeah, I would say that too. I think by the time we were done talking to everybody, no one had him worse than 2, and most people had him 1.
Yep. And that, the big knock on him is we haven't seen him be a number 1 receiver. And I did give some pushback to somebody. I was like, well, yeah, Jeremiah, there may be 5 receivers in the NFL right now that wouldn't be the number 1 on their teams if they were playing with Jeremiah Love.
I think that's fair. Jeremiah Smith, yeah.
Jeremiah Smith, yep. So, I don't know. Can you extrapolate what he did? We'll see. I guess
would
that's
that
what we'll
keep
find
you
out.
from drafting T. Higgins at 6?
No.
Like, if you could get T. Higgins at 22, and he is who he is for the Bengals, would you be like, I don't know if he can be a 1? He's got Jamar Chase. I just don't know.
No, people think about what people said about Jeremiah Smith and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Right. Like, same thing about a Mac, too, by the way.
And by the way, how about a guy plays for the Minnesota Vikings named Justin Jefferson?
Right.
Was he the number 1?
No, in the same receiver room with Jamar Chase, who won the Blitnikoff that year.
Yeah.
So,
and now they're probably 2 of the 5 that you would say day 1 Jeremiah Smith doesn't step in and be the number 1.
I think that's true. Yeah.
So it's it's an interesting that's how this top 10 in this draft plays out. I think will be very interesting. So that's kind of that was that one. From a league standpoint, to me, it's all about quarterbacks. It sounds like the starting point for a Mac Jones discussion is the second round. It sounds like Kyler Murray will be released and will be able to pick where he plays because he's going to be able to play for the minimum and go wherever he wants. Now, how many teams are in on him? That's another question.
We don't know.
We don't know the answer to that. But that, Mendoza, it's funny. I was on with Mo Pedman was not there, but I was on that program this morning with Lima and Daryl. And, they asked about, are people talking about Mendoza and, are they starting to tear him down a little bit, build him up? What are they saying about him as a quarterback? So honestly, there's no discussion of him as a player. It's like he's going to the Raiders.
No, there's none.
Like none.
It's not even a dialogue. Not even worth having to talk about.
No.
Sharpie it. He's going one. That's it.
Yeah.
On to the next.
Yeah, I was like, nobody even talked about his tape or what they saw because now Orlovsky is saying.
Which, can I just real quick, and I like Dan.
Yeah.
He did one of two things. So, number one, if your job is to look at quarterbacks for the 2026 NFL draft, and your assignment is to look at Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson, what is the first thing you would do if you were looking at Fernando Mendoza tape? What would be the first games you would want to look at?
The games against the best competition?
Of course.
Yeah.
So why would you watch the first 8 games?
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't. You'd see how he did against Oregon, at Oregon. He played pretty well, had a couple of picks. You'd want to know I'd want to know, how did he do against Ohio State?
Of course.
How did he do against Miami?
Of course.
How did he do against Oregon in the rematch in the Rose Bowl?
Yep.
Like, that's what I don't
and I'd want to watch the
care.
Penn State game where how does he lead
How
them
did he
down
lead
the
them
field
back?
at the end?
Right, but those are the 5 most talented teams they played.
Yes.
You don't need to watch 13 games of tape. I want to know how he did against the best teams.
Yep.
When I vote for the Heisman, give me how'd you do against the 5 best teams you played?
Yep.
So the fact that he said I only did 8 games of tape, to me, that's a failure of doing your job because you should watch the games that were talent
mattered.
equated.
Yep.
So it's either that or it's a caveat.
I think he's just trying to create.
It's a caveat. And somebody said, hey, we're going to have a dialogue about the quarterbacks. Can we come up with a way where Ty Simpson's close to Fernando Mendoza? Yeah, I'll watch the first 8 games. In the first 8 games of Ty Simpson, he was the front runner for the Heisman.
Yep.
So, okay, it's one or the other, but it can't be both.
Right.
It's just anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent.
No, I like that tangent, but I'm going to see if I can keep you fired up.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see any of Makai Lemon's podium? Mm-mm. Did you, young Gabriel? Come on over. You're laughing. Come on over. Do we have one clip that we could play on the show?
Oh, no, not readily available, no, but
So
how'd it
it's
go?
so funny.
I saw a clip
Okay.
where he was asked kind of like who his like receiver role model was.
Yeah.
If I didn't know for sure that it was real and I saw it and I had to go around and make sure that this was real. If I didn't know it was for sure, I would, to quote Todd Monken, we don't gamble, but if I could gamble, if I was able to wager that this was not actually draft combine footage, but this was from either Chappelle's show or Key and Peele, I would put my money.
You'd put it on that.
It's just the way he talks, the gestures, the way he's kind of staring at the person. Like I saw one like quote tweeted this and it was like if somebody like stared at me and talked to me and made these gestures with their head while they were speaking to me, like I'm calling like the cops. By the second hour, I would like we can get Dr. J. Did you agree? It's
Jalen Ramsey is the perfect example.
It's like Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, when he originally did it.
I've never seen anything like it in my life. I immediately now want to go and do an interview with him and just be like,
What is going on?
or is this? Yeah, it's. I mean, there it is. It's at the top of my feed and from Pardon My Take, and just the way he talks.
Oh, that is an awkward situation there.
The
Yeah,
eyes,
that's just
the
the look of
everything.
it alone is pretty awkward.
He's still doing it.
He just did it for a while.
It's the whole time.
Yeah. Okay. No, I missed that.
So I'm very curious about. And by the way, if this guy's a superstar, it's going to be unbelievable. Like I'm kind of
really is,
I'm
he
kind
could
of
be.
rooting for him to be
If he is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yes.
That'd be it.
It's really something. It's something special. So I'm pretty pumped about that. But that was an aside. So that was kind of the NFL was the quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks, first
Malik
domino.
Willis, consensus felt like he's going to Miami.
Yep.
He's going to get more than $30 million a year. Kyler is probably the next best regarded. Kyler is, some people would say, is the best regarded guy, but he's going to pick where he goes more so than free agency.
Yeah.
I thought Atlanta might be.
The difference is Kyler doesn't need the money, so he can play for because
he's going to play for like the minimum.
So he'll play for the minimum, and he can play anywhere he wants.
Right.
Whereas Malik would probably really enjoy a nice paycheck of 3 years, $95 million or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's what people think he's going to get.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
So that would be those with that, and then from the Browns standpoint, it was. A lot of people really like Todd Monken, are happy for him. They say he will get the best out of whatever we've got on offense. And that the kind of the thing that people kept saying to me is if you guys could just be, 15th or 16th in the league on offense. Mm-hmm. And I heard this from coaches, from pundits, from basically everybody. You could just be 15th or 16th in the league on offense. You guys have a chance to win that division.
Yeah.
Like you'll be a serious team.
Well, I think and that's what we think.
The other thing, too, is people at the Combine like Bond better than
people around here do.
Yes.
Well, I think that's another thing is there is a big disconnect between the way the league views certain people on our roster and the way locally. A pretty big gap on that front. Are you ready for this? I have some comparables for you. You mentioned Sonny Styles on the comparables. You ready for this?
Mike Mamula.
Well, except he's a first-team All-American. And Mike Mamula was not a first-team All-American.
I'm kidding. Yes, go ahead.
All right. 6'5", measured officially. He's the same height as Calvin Johnson.
Okay,
He's the
is
same
this they
I
put
got
this on
I
Good
got-
Morning Football?
I got a couple of them for you.
Okay.
244 pounds, 3 pounds lighter than Derrick Henry. Okay, so size-wise gives you where you're at. 43.5 vertical. That is the same vertical as NBA slam dunk champion Nate Robinson's max vert. 43.5.
Now, as a percentage of his body, Nate Robinson's is stunning.
Significantly more. Yeah.
It's like
But
Spud Webb.
43.5.
Yep.
His 40 is the same as Bijan Robinson's.
Yep.
And his broad jump was the same as Julio Jones.
And I think he had a few more.
Here's some more. The 10-yard split of 1.56 by Sonny Styles is a 100th of a second faster than Patrick Peterson. He is taller than Mike Evans. He ran the 40 a 100th of a second faster than George Pickens, despite being 50 pounds heavier than George Pickens. His vert 43.5 was 4 inches more than Devontae Adams. His broad jump was 0.2 of an inch longer than Derwin James, and his weight is 8 pounds heavier than Trent Collette.
They put one up where it's him and Calvin Johnson side by side on all of it, and it was stupefying.
Just from and this is what the challenge with him was. His dad was a great player at Ohio State, Lorenzo. His brother's older, Lorenzo Sr., who, by the way, could run 4.3. I don't know when those numbers are, but he's faster than Sonny, so it wouldn't surprise me if he ran 4.3. When he got to Ohio State, they didn't know what to do with him. I mean, he was a safety in high school. Can you imagine that? No wonder they won state. He won state football and state basketball as a junior. Didn't play his senior year.
Hoops highlights?
Buddy, I've told you the story. His junior year state championship game, it's Centerville against Pick Central. He's a junior. Centerville is the number one team in the country, hadn't lost in 2 years. They got a kid going to Florida State. Gabe Cupps, who is at Ohio State right now, was that year's reigning Mr. Basketball. Devin Royal is on Sonny's team. He is the Mr. Basketball the next year. He starts for Ohio State at basketball. Sonny was the best player on the court. He played bully ball for the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter and won a state championship. I talked to Scooty Penn 2 days after, and former Buckeye legend. I said, could he play basketball? He goes, yeah. He absolutely could play basketball at Ohio State if he wanted to. Absolutely.
They were showing
He's crazy.
Some of the highlights, and basically once he got the ball and started going towards the rim, if he had a few steps, people just got out of the way.
But it wasn't just freak athlete. Like, he could handle it.
Oh, no.
He played up top and he played guard. He played keep away from Centerville when they won it. He would defend the best player on the other. I mean, just stupefying athleticism.
There was a funny moment on Good Morning Football where one of the commentators was like, this is a 6'5" guy handling the ball. He's a 101. I'm like,
Actually,
6'5", handling the ball. You better be able to handle the ball at 6'5". You want to play basketball?
yeah, they do it at 6'8", and now 7 foot.
Right.
Cooper Flag 6'10". Yeah, like the game has changed.
He's like a
little bit.
6'5" guy, gets rebound, he brings it up the court. I'm like,
That was kind of the number one thing for me, though. Like, if Sonny has the tape is great, it's going to hold up to anything. But if his performances, we predicted this would be the case on Monday or Tuesday. I knew that he would do this stuff. I
Yep.
felt pretty confident that he would.
and you're pretty plugged in.
Pretty plugged in with that group.
And
And
Bo F and Bishop.
but what I was curious about is if by the time we were done this week, if him and it's 2 Buckeyes, him, Caleb Downs, and Jeremiah Love would be these 3 guys who are going to go in the top 10, who are from non-traditional positions to go in the top 10, but
Yep.
are all like as sure. By the way, Arvell Reese ran 4.46 too, being a defensive end. I mean, that's ridiculous that those guys were. They had Ohio State had 3 Avengers on their defense.
Did you watch any of the combine drills last night?
I did, yeah. I watched a little of those guys.
How about Tarv?
Tarv in the
Tarv's
mix.
star of the show.
He really was.
He's out there, and they're like Jeremiah and Charles Davis, and they're like, "Oh, that's just classic Jason Tarver." And Jeremiah's like, "Man, this guy's so positive, so much energy." We're like, "Yeah, that's our guy, Tarver." Whoa,
We're all back.
We're all back, baby.
So I think those 3 players are all going to go in the top 10.
Yeah.
And they're all they're non-traditional things. But I thought Sonny said something yesterday. I thought it was really good. He's like, I'm one of 11 football players. You put me wherever you want. You want me to play safety? I'll play safety. You want me to play linebacker? Play linebacker. Off ball? You want me to rush the quarterback? I'll do that. Like, I'll do whatever you need.
I love it. Mel Kiper's adamant, by the way, that Caleb Downs is going to. Now,
Well, he measured 6'1.5" and 205, which is
Bigger than
an
they
inch
thought.
taller and 10 pounds heavier than people thought.
Yeah.
Like they thought he'd be 5'10", 5'11",
Yeah.
190, 195, and he ended up being over 6 foot and 205 to 2. So
Can I switch? How do we not know how tall? Like,
I don't know.
How is this a shocking thing?
I think they were thinking maybe that he was overvalued. I don't know, or that they made it bigger than he was, but he measured legitimately those heights.
Yeah.
So
And then he had some short arms on some of the pass rushers. People are very unhappy
Reuben
about
Bain.
it. Yeah, very unhappy about that.
yeah, I don't know. It
I
seemed
always-
like he was productive.
I always talk about these things. It's like Goff's hand. Goff had a small hand.
Oh, right, yeah.
When's the last time somebody commented on Goff's hand size? It's
Never
like,
affected
it
anything.
only talks between now and the time they get drafted, and then never is talked about again.
Never. No, not at all. It is a Combine mailbag day. Get your Combine questions into the boys. Get them to us at Browns_Daily. We'll also do so in the YouTube chat. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. We will talk with Chris Rose. We'll have some sound from the Combine, go around the league, all sorts of fun along the way. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
This is what I've been waiting for.
Oh, yeah.
All week.
I'm
In
sure.
fact, I know that this is going to be so good that the second this is done, I'm leaving this town.
You have talked to dozens of better informed people than this one right here, and certainly more entertaining. But is this the last one you get to do?
By the way, you're not a good liar because that's all false.
Is this the last one you get to do?
This is it.
This is it.
Save the best for last.
Folks, I apologize. We didn't exactly finish up strong. Not a great fourth quarter drive on this show.
To the contrary,
Cleveland Browns
we are at
Daily.
the top of the mountain right now. And the
Turnover
last
on
time-
downs.
We're living every day like it's 4th and 1, Chris, and we're going to convert right now.
What do
You
we
and I.
got, man? It's great to see you.
It's great to see you. Last time you were on Browns Daily, you did a 45-minute Herculean effort that included you muting yourself in the middle,
Yep. Well, that was a quick one.
coming back from a commercial, saying, "I'm staying. I'm
staying.
not leaving."
No. Well, we
I
also
appreciate
changed
it.
pictures like 6 times,
Yeah,
graphic
that's right.
shots.
Yeah.
So,
We'll see what we go with for this one.
this is, remember the last one I had all the bling.
The blink for the draft, which feels appropriate for
So
this
this is
combine.
exactly where it happens. We have a tunnel that we send all of the combine participants through, and they've got outfits, they've got bling, they've got sunglasses, they've got all sorts of stuff where they can walk through the tunnel. They also, this will probably be about the 8th or 9th straight year that I embarrass myself as a 50-something dad bod, or as I like to say in the biz, gibbe body.
Gibbe body.
Gibbe body. And so I get to get a fresh set of eyes on this thing and wear it. And
Yeah. Well, we're excited. That'll be next time. We'll have to.
Yeah, I'll
update
send you the new one.
We need the update. It's at Dr. J over there. He's ready to get it. Look at Dr.
Thanks,
J.
Dr. J.
So, what have you thought now that we've seen Todd Monken?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I talked to him, and now we've seen him do the media rounds. What is your impression of a guy that, to me, just is such a football coach?
Well, Nathan, I understand the question. Sorry, I'm kidding. And I love Stefanski. You and I both love Stefanski.
Of course, I love Kevin.
I always felt like he did himself not a disservice, but he's a funny guy.
He's a great guy.
We know he's a great guy, but he's
And he's
funny.
fun. Yeah,
he's
fun.
very funny when the
Yeah.
camera's not on. But he had a certain, I don't want to say persona, but he wanted to protect the Browns organization first, and probably even more important than that, the players. You never heard him get loose with the players in front of a microphone.
Yep.
Which is really important to keep a locker room together. Todd, I didn't know him. I wasn't working for the organization in 2019 when he was the OC, kind of. And and I never did a Ravens game over the last 3 years. So I haven't had a chance to even meet him, and I look forward to it when I do. I can't wait for the preseason.
Yeah.
But he's great, right?
Yes.
And it's not – you don't need your head coach to be Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock, but it sure as hell is fun.
Yeah.
Right? Particularly at this time of year because we're 0-0 and we have some hope. Okay, if we get this draft right and we could figure out the quarterback thing, we'll be back in. I don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, but it's refreshing because so many of these guys, for whatever reason, feel like they've got to be I cannot let my focus get out of this range. And heck, we even had Mike McDonald after they won the freaking Super Bowl on our NFL Network set, and he's like, yep, our guys, they just take it one play at a Coach, you just won the dang Super Bowl. Can you let your hair down for just a I know you're a summa cum laude finance guy from Georgia, but you just won the whole thing.
Let's have a little
Like,
passion.
Let's go. Come on, Coach, give me a little something here. And I think that if we ever make the Super Bowl and win it, my guess is Todd Monken is going to be the one that might be dancing on the table. So I can't wait
Which
for
we
that.
will look forward to that.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things that you get to do every year.
Dance on the table?
No, well, if you're so inclined, there's a table right here.
Yeah,
No, to get to do the Super Bowl, be with
Yes.
the victors right on the field.
I
and
just finished
lots
covering
of raw emotion.
my 21st Super Bowl in a different ways, but the last dozen, I believe, I've hosted. I think it started with Super Bowl 49 where I was on the field after the game, and so I've done that pretty consistently since then, and it's a great moment because it's not about the business of sports. It's not about contracts. It's about guys reaching the pinnacle of something that they have worked their entire lives for, and that's why I was a little surprised, to be honest with you, maybe the lack of emotion out of most of the Seahawks. I'm not here to tell them how. Maybe I am. Seahawks, if you're listening into Cleveland Browns Daily, really let it fly. Let's go.
You and I had a great time in Seattle.
We
years
did.
ago. Yes,
we
indeed.
did. Yeah. Mrs. Rose was there.
Absolutely.
It was Halloween weekend, and we walked into a certain restaurant where we just thought we were going to get a good meal. Instead, it was like a Vegas nightclub.
It was.
We were looking at each other like, "What's?" I still have that video on my phone of whatever appetizer where it was smoking. And the whole place was.
The outfits were. They were
Yeah.
something.
They didn't spend a lot of money on material. Let's put
No,
it that
that's
way.
right. Efficient, economical.
Yeah.
The per square inch price must have been high. When you talk about coming here, as you said, you got to do all this stuff Super Bowl. Then you come here. I love the people. You see so many people
Right.
you know and you've connected with, and in your role, obviously, you touch everything in the NFL. But all the people who have come through the Browns in your time as a life, time of being a passionate Browns fan, who are all here now in other organizations, and you could take from certain staffs. And hey, man, those are half the offensive coordinators, and coaches in the league. It
Right.
feels like now. What do you love about coming here, and how have you seen it really kind of evolve?
Well, it really is an event that we helped at NFL Network kind of put on the map.
No doubt.
It was almost like Fight Club before we started airing it. Like, you knew about the combine, but what is it? Do you remember back in the day, it felt like they were running 40s off to the side. Like when you see the old Brady running his 40 the year he came out, it felt like it was almost like near the stands and tucked away, and just there wasn't anything to it. And now it's grown into this enormous event that today's NFL players sit for 4 days and are trying to figure out who their next teammates are going to be.
Yeah.
Right? When Worthy a couple of years ago ran the 4-2-1, and guys are going nuts on social media, chiming in. And it was guys outside of our sport, too, who loved every bit of it. Because it is fun to watch wonderful athletes do exactly what they're built to do. And so, is it true football? No. We never present it that way. I mean, it's guys running around in their T-shirt and shorts, but it helps us dream like, oh, my God, I hope no other team was watching that because I want that guy to slide to the fourth round so that we can have him, right? And we're all going to be doing this, particularly on Sunday, because we might have an entirely rebuilt offensive line. We're going to try and figure out if Jake Slaughter from Florida is worth a fourth-round pick. Can he be our starting center next year or not? Like, this is how we as Browns fans are going to have to think over the next 4 days.
And finally, we have 2 1s.
Yeah, that's nice.
We have 3 in the top 39.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a lot of fun for the Browns, and there's probably going to be a lot of talk around the Browns. So much about the tackle, so much about the wide receiver.
Right.
And would you go receiver at 6, and then let's get your offensive line guys. You get an offensive lineman at 6, and then try to find your receiver. And I love just the information sharing that goes on as you make your way around Indianapolis. You've been obviously wearing your professorial hat of late and bringing knowledge to the youth of America over at Butler.
Whatever the heck that means.
But that's, to me, that's what's fun about it. I think we're an interesting team. New coach, the 3 picks there. Now it's great defense. Can you just get the offense? Everybody that I've talked to, you guys can just get your offense to be 15th, 16th in the league. You guys can win your division.
You could. I think it was shocking what happened in the AFC North a season ago.
Yeah.
There's also, and it's something I wrestle with, because I don't know if you remember, but Daniel Jeremiah's first mock draft came out. Do you remember who he had us taking at 6?
An edge.
Yeah, David Bailey.
Yeah.
He won't make it to 6, by the way. He won't make it there. And I called him and I said, my God, what are you trying to
Start a riot.
do to my hometown? What's going on here? And he goes, listen, dude, it's twofold. He goes, I understand why people would be pissed, but there aren't that many, what they like to call in the business, blue chip players.
That's been a pretty consensus thing
Okay.
so far.
And he said, when you can get one,
You get him.
could you imagine putting him on the opposite side of Myles Garrett? He goes, I'm just telling you, that defense would be incredible. I was like, but we don't have any linemen, and we need receivers. He goes,
We
"The
need to
receiver-"
score.
He says, the receiver thing can still be taken care of. He goes, I really think that there's guys that are going to be drafted in the 4th round that will be starters. Like, he honestly believes that. Now, the tackle situation, that's why I think that's where we're going to go at 6, is because it sounds like there's a pretty significant drop-off between maybe the top 2 guys and the next group, right?
The DJ doesn't have any of them in the top 10.
No.
Not a single offensive tackle.
No, but that happens sometimes, right?
Yeah.
When you do have to draft for need, and it's not a great way to build your football team, but particularly where we are right now with 5 perhaps vacancies, and certainly at least 4 along that front line, you got to find them somewhere, and they're good tackles don't become available in free agency very often. It just doesn't happen all that much.
And that's why we're in. It's good that we have these assets, but that's why this is a tough spot because I go back and intellectually I say, okay, let's go back to the last time we were humming on offense. Joe Flacco's the quarterback at the end of 2023, throws 300 yards in 5 straight games. We're lighting up scoreboards. Who are our tackles?
I know.
Jaron Christian and James Hudson.
It's really incredible, right? When you look back at it, how we were able to get it done and put together
Yeah.
an offensive run the way that we did.
Yeah. So it makes me think to myself, okay, let's have Amari Cooper, playing at an elite level, sets the franchise record for the most yards in a game. Joku's playing at a Pro Bowl level. We had that the weapons. We were cooking a little bit when the tackles with the quarterback didn't matter as much. Now, it's interesting. Some people have said here that we've talked to, tackles are supremely important, obviously, and they get paid big bucks, all of that. But if you're guard, center, guard, which at the time still was Bitonio, Posick, and Teller,
yeah.
if your guard, center, guard's strong and quarterbacks can step up, it alleviates necessarily the need for the great tackle.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the thinking that the Carolina Panthers had a couple years ago when they brought in a couple of big guards, right? In Hunt and Lewis, I believe, is who it was.
They had former Brown Austin Corbett.
Yes, they did. And that was their thought process, was we've got a short quarterback. We need guys up there that can keep those monsters in the middle of defense out of his face.
Yep.
I understand that thinking, but I'll flip it and just say that Seattle's defense, they came at you from just about every angle.
Yep.
Every angle. And, yeah, they got that huge push with Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy in the middle, and that is a big part of it.
And look at New England, had the same thing in there with Milton Williams and Barmore.
Yeah, they did. And, look, you could talk yourself into virtually doing anything at 6
Yeah.
and feeling that it's okay, right? If we go get Carnell Tate, if we think that Micaiah Lemon is really the next either JSN or Amon-Ra St. Brown, then sure, why
Sure.
not? But I don't know. I'm old school.
Yeah, you're a trenches guy. That's right.
I am a trenches guy because I go back to my childhood.
All right,
where
well,
Joe,
speaking of old school, holy moly.
well, you can't. Yeah, let's not show that. Up.
Holy
Well, that might have been
moly.
like Combine 1. Combine 1. Little fatter face and a
Just
little
full of
cleaner.
life, that guy. Look at him.
Full of more than life, apparently. It's full of a few extra steak dinners here in Indianapolis.
Yes. But you are an old school guy. And I think that's the interesting. And you look at, we spent this whole week next to the Chicago Bears table. And you look at the Chicago Bears and the way that they went about it. Now, of course, they got to have Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick in the draft. But, they got DJ Moore in that trade as well.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted Roma Dunze in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
They bring in DeAndre Swift. They had Cole Kmet, who was a second rounder. And then in this draft, they drafted
Colston Loveland.
and then Luther Burden.
Yep.
And then Monungai, who ends up being that's
Yeah,
a later
but
running
what
back.
did they fix?
But then in free agency, they buttress, in particular, the interior of that offensive line.
But they also did have a first-round top 10 pick as one of their tackles, too.
Yep.
So, I mean,
It's a little chicken and the egg. I just want to score. When you're calling games,
I know, but
it's
what-
fun when we score.
you kind of glossed over the situation, but you were like, and they had Caleb Williams as the first
Well, of
pick.
course, that's a
big deal.
Of course, and I think
That's a big deal.
One of the reasons Todd Monken is here is because of what he's been able to do with quarterbacks throughout his career. And you go the last 6 years to get Stetson Bennett playing at the level that he did, win 2 national championships at Georgia, then to get Lamar Jackson playing the best football of his career,
Right.
win an MVP, and then in the next year I thought was even better, over 4,000
Right, in
yards, 41 and
2024 he
4,
was great.
900 yards rushing. They don't give him the MVP because it was at that point it's like, okay, that's too many for you. That you hope that whether it be Deshaun Watson, whether it be Shedeur Sanders, whether it be Dylan Gabriel, whether it be somebody that we did not name that's outside of our building currently, that Todd Monken can get the best out of that person. That's the key. We're talking about wanting to be a top half of the league offense. That means you got to have good, consistent quarterback play.
Yeah, you're doomed if you don't. You're doomed if you don't. And we got 2 of the best in our division with Lamar, who's obviously now going to have a fresh set of eyes and ears coaching him, so that'll be interesting. And Joe Burrow, if he can ever stay on the field, that's a magnetic offense.
Quite
that
good.
He's got.
Yeah.
Quite good, even though they haven't still gotten the offensive line right. They're really, they're fun to watch. Not for us.
But that's kind of the funny thing about it, too. They'll think about Flacco with us,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes down there, and I got to talk to him, for the game at the end. I'm like, that was pretty fun, wasn't it? He's like, yeah, that was a lot of fun throwing to Jamar Chase Higgins. They didn't have a great line, but all of a sudden now he's throwing and
lighting it up
again.
Yeah, listen, we can talk. It's the problem. It's the toughest part of being a Browns fan is we can talk ourselves in circles.
Of course.
we just keep going around and around. Yeah, well, if we do this, if we get an offensive lineman at 6 and we get a wide receiver at 24 and maybe a guard somewhere in the 3rd round or maybe a center in the 4th or 5th that we think and then all of a sudden you're piecing it together and we're like, at the end of the day, it's the guys that are under center that are going to determine how fun a season we have in 2026.
So I guess we could say, listen, think about this in 11 personnel, Chris. We're going to have Carnell Tate. We're going to be able to get Judy in the slot, get him some free releases. Bond's going to be taking the top off the defense over there. Harold Fannin now is a mismatch. Oh, we got Quinshon Judkins back here. Let's go, right? But at the end of the day, it's the guy who touches the ball, and Todd Monken says it. He's the one guy who touches the ball every single play. He's the one that you need to make all of the decisions and handle the football and make the big plays, make the right decision, deliver it. That's what it's all about. And so I think what's going to be so interesting to me is Todd getting these guys on the grass. He only knows them via film at this point, right? And I like what he says. I'm not going to determine who plays. Players are going to determine who plays. And seeing what that looks like, because you have to have that guy. And he said you build your offense from that guy first and foremost.
Yep. It's that simple. I mean, we're all excited about it. And I don't think we're going to draft a quarterback. I would be surprised if Malik Willis finds his way to Cleveland.
I think too much.
Yeah, and I think those guys that moved down from Green Bay in the front office and the coaching staff to Miami, it just makes too much sense. I mean, they basically said, we're doing anything here to make this team better, and I think they're willing to go the Denver route in terms of what they did with Russell Wilson and say, we're going to dead money it. I mean, they've already gotten rid of a bunch of guys, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll see how that all works out for them, but I think, if there was a betting favorite, I think it would be Miami.
There's one guy who's very interesting to me, and I think it would be very surprised if he makes his way to the Cleveland Browns, but Kyler Murray. What's going to end up happening there? Because he's the one that you've at least seen him play at a high level. There are a lot of factors why Arizona's being willing to move on to from him. But there aren't enough quarterbacks in this league, and he's a guy you can talk yourself, he's going to throw for about 3,800 yards. He's got a good touchdown interception ratio.
I have a hard time talking myself into that.
To Kyler Murray.
I think your situation has got to be perfect.
I don't think it's for us. I'm just saying for the league in general, that's going to be an interesting, to me, quarterback down.
Where would he fit? Give me a team where – would you want him in Minnesota? I mean, maybe.
So one that is interesting to me, and I don't know how it would work, but it just is interesting to me, is Atlanta.
Oh, gosh. Okay, yeah.
With Bijan,
indoors.
Pitts, Drake London.
No bad weather road games in division. Yeah, indoors, lots of talent there. Obviously, they just tagged Pitts. You mentioned that. They've put a lot of draft capital into that offensive line. They've got the most dynamic running back in the league, in my opinion.
And a good defense.
And a really interesting defense, although it's going to
lose
take
a piece, yes.
Yeah, big one. And so, yeah, that one, that's a good – I like that fit. I don't think there's a lot of teams, if I were a fan base, where I would be – banging the table for Kyler Murray to come to our squad.
For sure. But that's just, again, it goes back to the point. It's all about the quarterback, and people are going to try to talk themselves into something. Mac Jones, I would imagine, is going to have – teams are going to try to get Mac Jones out of there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the Niners will let him, but they're going to try.
Well, he doesn't cost anything right now financially.
And they know they're getting a third compensatory next year. Somebody's going to pay Mac Jones.
Somebody will.
Yeah.
But it might end up being you if you have him in the building.
Right.
Could be.
So fun.
I love it. That's what makes this sport so great. I mean, when we wrap up here on Monday, we've got 1 week until the legal tampering period, which is the most oxymoronic statement ever.
It's great.
It's so good. Yes, we are legally allowed to do something illegally. I cannot wait.
And
News
talk
11.
about it. We do air quotes for that. The legal tampering period.
There is no. You don't need any air quotes. That's what they call it in the league.
I think there's currently. Right now in Indianapolis, legal tampering that precedes the legal tampering.
I believe that it actually is on the calendar. Legal tampering period.
No, you're exactly right about that. All right, where can people catch you?
NFL Network. It's very simple. 3 o'clock on Thursdays and Fridays. We'll take you all the way through all of the drills. Obviously, Thursday's a huge day, particularly for Ohio State fans, because they're going to get a chance to see Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles do their thing. With Reese, it sounds like he's going to do both as an edge rusher and a linebacker, which is phenomenal.
Doesn't it feel like today's trade maybe puts even more of a spotlight on all those edges? Because you got to think the Jets trade Johnson out to Saleh.
Yeah.
they could get an edge right there at number 2.
Right. I mean, they're going to have their choice of whatever they want, right?
That's
we know
right.
that Mendoza's off to Las Vegas, which is a perfect fit. Love that. That's going to be great on so many levels. If there's one guy in this draft that screams Las Vegas, it is Fernando Mendoza, and I can't wait. He'll be we know he's not throwing on Saturday, but I'm sure we will talk to him. And actually, they're expecting a crowd of between 20 and 25,000 people here, which is
Unreal.
by the way, there's no game. It's just a bunch of kids working out. And so when he ends up on the big screen, wait to see what happens. One other guy that Browns fans might want to pay attention to on Saturday, and we don't know 100% if he's working out, and that's Omar Cooper, who was Mendoza, one of his favorite targets.
Receiver.
He's much more than the guy that saved their season with that toe tap touchdown
Incredible catch.
in Happy Valley. He is a tough guy who people cannot stop talking about here. Will he be around at 24 for the Browns? There's a possibility it could happen. Originally, it sounded like, mid to late second round, but now I don't think he's getting out of day one, it sounds like, even though this is a really deep receiver draft.
It's going to be so fun. The speculation, reckless at times, will continue until we get to that free agency period, start to shape the draft boards a little more. But catch Chris Rose on NFL Network, and then get ready. He's already getting ready for preseason football for your Cleveland Browns. That'll be the first game of the Todd Monken era.
That'll be great.
It will be absolutely great. Chris, always a pleasure, man. Great seeing you.
Nathan, good seeing you. Tell the family hello. Drive
Likewise.
safely back home to our hometown now. You're adopted.
Thank you.
My real hometown.
That's right.
Can't wait to see you.
That's great stuff there. All right.
With a traffic cone, I saw a lot of those on 70.
There were tons of them. All right, coming up next, it was quarterbacks and receivers at the NFL Combine today over in Indianapolis. You will hear from a great many of them coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. It is Combine Week presented by Bullseye Event Group. For award-winning game day experiences, visit bullseyeeventgroup.com. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Junior Browns backers presented by University Hospitals, Rainbows, Babies and Children in association with Cardinal Credit Union, the official Cleveland Browns Kids Club. Kids age 4 to 12 enjoy exclusive gear, special experiences, events, and more. Visit juniorbrownsbackers.com to join today. Today was wide receivers. There was quarterbacks over there, and the quarterbacks take center stage. Obviously, a couple of these quarterbacks know our head coach quite well. Probably none better than Carson Beck, who played for Todd Monken at the University of Georgia, was recruited by him there. Here is Carson Beck on the opportunity to play for Todd again.
You know, any team that's going to draft me, you know, I'm super grateful for the opportunity. But, you know, if Coach Monken were to, you know, be my coach again, obviously I really enjoyed him being my coach at the University of Georgia and what I was able to learn from him there. So, I mean, I'd be super stoked.
And here is Carson on his relationship with Todd Monken.
Monken my first 3 years at Georgia, and I love him personally. I've actually known him since I was 7 or 8 years old. I played baseball with his son whenever he was the wide receiver coach of the Jags, so that's cool. I've been able to have a really good relationship with him over the years, and obviously at Georgia, he taught me a lot of what I know. So again, he's an amazing coach. I had the opportunity to talk with him a little bit the other day when I was done with all my interviews. We walked and chatted for a little bit. So I love Coach Monk. He's an awesome coach and a great guy.
So Carson would be obviously more of a later round possibility. We'll see, but
Sure.
obviously a connection there, and few people are doing better than Todd. Ty Simpson could play himself into the first round, this courtesy of Mary Kay Cabot. Here is Ty Simpson, the former Alabama quarterback, on how excited his dad would be for him to play for Todd because of the Southern Miss connection that is there.
My dad and Coach Monk go way back. They talk often. He texted him when he got the job, and they texted a little bit. So if I had the opportunity to play for the Browns, it'd be a dream come true. I think I'd be in great hands, with the team that they had, the organization, and then Coach Monk and what he does with the quarterbacks in the offense is super friendly, quarterback friendly. And I think that he's going to coach me hard if I be able to go there, but he's going to do it in the right way. So I'm super excited.
He's going to be an intriguing guy. Simpson's going to be intriguing because there is, like, to the earlier point where we got off on a tangent on Orlovsky and the way he presented that.
Sure.
But, Simpson was incredible early. They did not have a lot of wide receiver weaponry at Alabama this year. Ryan Williams is still there, but he had a ton of drops. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where kind of the momentum goes with him. Speaking of momentum, a year ago, if he had beaten Notre Dame, Drew Aller very likely would have been a first-round pick in last year's.
Drew Aller might have been a
NFL
Brown.
draft. He very well may have been a Brown. He could have been a Brown at number 2 overall. Last year at Penn State, the season got off the rails, and then he got hurt. But this is a kid from Medina. Here's Drew Aller on his love of his hometown of Medina.
I love Medina. I love going back every chance I can. I have some of my best friends, from all my youth sports teams, still to this day as my best friends. Some of my best coaches and mentors are from Medina. It taught me a lot for sure. And, I wouldn't change where I went to high school, where I grew up or anything like that. So, very fortunate and blessed to, grow up in a community that was like that. And, that is still so supportive of me and everybody that has, come from Medina County in general. So it's really cool to see because, I know Mitch Evans last year, he was a tight end at Notre Dame. Didn't go to Medina High School, but he went to Wadsworth. So there's been a lot of guys that have had the opportunity to, take that next step from college to the NFL from Medina County in general. So it's kind of cool to try to build on that legacy.
It's very, very cool there. Here is Drew on his family's love for the Browns and his meeting with us.
I would say a pretty big Browns fan growing up. I went to every single home Browns game from the time I was 7 through my senior year of high school. My great-grandfather had season tickets, so they've been passed down since the 60s, I guess. So I've been fortunate enough to be to a lot of Browns games. Yeah, I met with the Browns as an informal interview. So that one went really, really well. So I actually know the quarterback coach from high school recruiting. He was the OC quarterback coach at Northwestern when I was coming out of high school. So I was familiar with him going into that meeting. But I would probably say either Joe Thomas or Charlie Fry, I want to say, is one of the first 2 jerseys I had. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
One of the beautiful things about this is that when something like that happens, it makes its way to the Hoff very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah,
we
he's
get
fired up.
He's all fired up for it. Yeah. Drew's going to be an intriguing prospect because all the measurables are going to be there. The arm talent, all of it. Accuracy is kind of the one hiccup. I always defend him from the standpoint of what they asked him to do offensively when he was over there. I still think the pound of clay is really, really good, and someone could get a steal. We'll see.
There were quite a few people I talked to that said it would not surprise them at all if in the middle rounds the Browns drafted Drew Aller.
Yeah. One guy who's going to be in the mix at 6, provided he gets there, is Carnell Tate. He was asked this morning about his meeting with the Browns. Here is Carnell Tate.
I had a great meeting with the Browns. Andrew Berry, the GM, the head coach Todd Monk, and the receiver coach. We just talked ball. They got up there. We talked ball, put my film on, see what all I can remember, who all position I knew, what coverages I knew, and then we looked at a couple plays, what I could do better at, why was it a lack of execution on this play. It'll mean a lot to stay in Ohio. Like Columbus is Ohio, it's an hour up the street, so yeah, it'll mean a lot to stay in Columbus, next to Columbus, and then I can go out there and see all my guys out there at Ohio State. And I know Ohio State fans love Cleveland Browns, so why not?
I can certainly show him the road.
Listen, I want to know what car he's working with. If it's an hour up the road, he's moving.
When we were 1 to 3, I would get people saying, "How do you get from Columbus to Cleveland in an hour?" And I used to just tweet the Airwolf GIF.
Oh yeah.
Sure. That's how you can do it in an hour.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no chance.
Good luck.
Good luck, kids. That's probably from our perspective, the two biggest things that I think, and we've talked weapons and offensive line, obviously, is he was the consensus number one receiver.
Mm-hmm.
That I think there was one who had Tyson ahead of him. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Charles Davis.
I think it was Jordan Reed.
No, I think he had Carnell. I think it was Tyson who we were waiting on the. I want to say that was. Well, you remember better than me. You're younger. Either way, there was one that had Tyson slightly ahead if the medical came back positive.
Yep.
But even that one had Carnell 2. But most it was Carnell 1.
Yep.
That he was the number one receiver in this draft. So that kind of consensus. And then the other consensus being that the top of this tackle room isn't demonstratively better than the people who would be available in the 20s. That gap is pretty small.
Yes.
So for where we're concerned, those are kind of the big takeaways of receiver and offensive line of how those rooms break.
Yep.
All right.
I like Cartel Tate. I liked everything he said right there. I'm in.
There's a lot to like about him.
Yeah.
PFF lead draft analyst Trevor Sikkema going to join us coming up next. You're listening to Combine Week presented by the Bullseye Event Group, award-winning game day experiences. Visit bullseyeeventgroup.com, and you're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Back here at the NFL Combine, Trevor Sikkema, PFF lead draft analyst, joining us. Trevor, so great to talk to you, man. Let's just do big picture first in terms of talent-wise this draft. How does it compare to some others? What are some strengths and weaknesses that this draft class has that maybe others didn't?
I think it's a heavy defensive draft, to be honest with you. I think that, there's a world where we could get almost 3/4 of the top 100 are defensive picks. Like, I think it's a really good year for linebacker. I think it's a good year for corner at the top. It's a pretty deep safety class. And defensive line, obviously, I feel like every year there's a handful of defensive linemen. And even if there's not guys who are star-studded at the top, which I think that we do have a couple of those guys, it's always pretty deep, and I think that this year is no different. I think those two positions that I mentioned, though, linebacker and safety, it's not often you get deep linebacker and safety classes. And I think that this year, combining what is almost always a pretty stacked defensive positions of defensive line and corner, like we know that those guys are going to be good. It really is those off-ball linebackers and the safeties that I think really elevate this defensive group. So I think it is a pretty heavy defensive draft. Not to say there's not good offensive players. I just think that when you look at the offense overall, it feels like there's some really good guys at the top. It's not as deep overall offensively as we have seen in past drafts. So that's what I would say is there's definitely some stars to get on offense, but in terms of the depth, defense is the depth here for this year's class.
Well, that's music to my ears. No, you did not. No. I'm going to look. Let's turn it around.
Positive. Make it positive.
If 75 of the first 100 are defensive players and we only want offensive players, that means we get 3 of the best 25 offensive players in the draft.
That could.
Thrive on
there you go.
Thrives on enthusiasm.
Now it's inverted.
I'm glad you don't have to end the interview with me because of my negativity right off the bat.
Listen, I like it. We're picking 6, 24, 39. Obviously, looking to get 3 starters. I believe all 3 will be on offense. So, according to what you were saying, I like that. Let other teams draft all the defensive players they want. You want off-ball linebackers? 100%. Guess what? We got Carson Swessinger. No, thank you. We got Grant Delpit and Ronnie Hickman safety. You're fine. When you look at the offensive side, let's focus on the 2 positions, and one else calls it group offensive line, wide receiver. Let's start with the wide receivers. Mm-hmm. What do you like about this class, and is there somebody that you would pull the trigger on at 6?
There's definitely somebody that I'd pull the trigger on at 6. In fact, I think that there are the 3 names that a lot of people will have in Browns mock drafts that I have done before. Mekhi Lemon from USC is one of them. I think he's worthy of the 6th overall pick. I see him as somebody who could blossom into an Amon-Ra St. Brown type of a player with just how consistent he is, how he helps in the run game, the hands, the route running, the separation, all of that. I think he is fantastic. Some people might look at the build of him and, all right, 5'11", 195 pounds. They go, is that really a wide receiver, the type that you would draft in the top 10? I would tell you to go watch the film. How much he helped USC and how much he was the focal point for them. So he's somebody that I would consider there at the very top. Carnell Tate from Ohio State. The stat that I love the most about Carnell Tate from this past season, 0.0 drop rate from him this season. If it was in his mitts, he was catching it. And you can go even beyond that. Contested catches, 85.7% when it came to contested catches for Carnell Tate. You're lucky if you're at like 60%. Yeah. And he was at 85.7. So you talk about a guy who has some twitch to him, some body control to be able to run a lot of different routes, and then you bring in what he could be when the ball is in the air. That is a player that you really love to lean into in the passing game. The player that I actually think has the highest ceiling is Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State. He's my wide receiver 1. Now, I will say that he's my wide receiver 1 independently of what might be some injury concerns with him, because the combine's going to be really big for him to see what the medicals are like, and he's not even participating here because of that hamstring injury that he had this past season. He had major knee reconstruction surgery, I believe it was 3 years ago as well. He had a collarbone injury too, but man, you turn on the tape and I feel like most of the time that you watch most of the time that you watch Jordan Tyson, it's like a Golden Tate type of a player, really shifty, knows how to put all sorts of defensive backs in conflict, creates that separation, is really tough at the catch point, some really great catches. But then there are also times where he's like, okay, well, you look like Odell there, actually. Like, you look like Odell Beckham Jr. So if you get somebody who you tell me most of the time is Golden Tate and then sometimes he's Odell, like that is one hell of an NFL wide receiver. So those 3 guys, I think, are the ones that you consider early. But I like Denzel Boston as well. Somebody who you'd probably think about picking there in the 20s. Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M and his speed, maybe you think about him. And then when you get into the second round, it's guys like, Jeremy Bernard or Omar Cooper Jr. or Elijah Surratt. Like, there's a lot of different types of receivers that you can get in this class.
I think for Browns fans, what they're trying to assess here, and certainly we are as well, is You had that group at 6. I'm sorry.
Yep.
You like Denzel Boston. I think that's an obvious one to like. The size feels like an AFC North guy that you could see succeeding out there. Is the gap between let's say offensive tackle, wide receiver, the tackle that you could get at 6 versus 24, or the receiver you get at 6 versus 24, which is a bigger gap? Which is more scarce?
So it's a great question. I'm glad that you asked it, because building draft strategies, I don't think we talk about enough. I think we talk about the prospects and everything, and this guy could fit here, could fit there, but what these general managers do is they truly build these draft strategies. And the one that I like the most for Cleveland is taking offensive line first. Anytime that you have an offensive line need, I'm almost always going to tell you, if you got 2 first-round picks, like if you have a scenario that's like this, take the offensive lineman first, because they don't grow on trees. They don't become available very often, right? I mean, you look at wide receiver. Not that you don't want to take good wide receivers, especially
we want
when you're
studs.
in a situation,
right?
When you're in a situation like Cleveland is. But I tell people, generally, you have a chance as a team to have to acquire a difference-making wide receiver, a high-impact wide receiver, whether that's a wide receiver 1 or somebody that's a fringe 1 or 2, whatever. You have the opportunity to get one of those guys in your football team every other year, whether that's via the draft or even the trade market. We see good wide receivers hit the trade market all the time.
That's how we've gotten ours.
You know, when you have the opportunity to get a good offensive lineman, specifically a good offensive tackle, drafting them in the top 10, and that is it. That's basically it. And that's sort of how you need to prioritize it. So especially with this draft class, even though it's not a draft class that has, Tristan Wirfs and Andrew Thomas and those guys in it, if you want a good wide receiver, if you want a good offensive tackle and a good offensive lineman in this class, I would tell you, draft one early, because you're going to be able to find a wide receiver that can make an impact for your team a little bit later.
So if we follow that strategy and draft the tackle at 6, which one, let's say they're all there, who's there at 6 that you're like, that's the guy?
I think that Francis Mauigoa, the offensive lineman from Miami, I think he is really, really solid. And it kind of just depends on what type of a scheme Todd Monken kind of wants to run in the run game. Does he want to be really multiple when it comes to, outside zone versus a little bit more in between the tackle stuff? Do you want more of a power downhill run game type of approach? So, because that kind of goes into it, right? Like Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle from Utah, I think that you consider here as well. But Fano, I think his grades in our system are so much better as an outside zone type of a rusher. Like, he's somebody who is really athletic. He's right around 300, 305 pounds, so he's a little bit lighter of an offensive tackle, but the guy can get out of his stance. The guy can get on the hoof. He can really get to the outside. And if you want to run more of that outside zone run scheme, I think you consider him potentially there at number 6. But if you want somebody who's a little bit more of a downhill runner, somebody's going to beat you up front, really be able to execute duo blocks and just push people against their will, Mauigoa is a little bit stronger, and he's built that way. I think his frame's a lot like that. So those are the 2 guys that I would probably have the most confidence in when it comes to number 6 for them.
All right, let me go back to a couple things you said there. So at 6, every tackle in this draft, you mentioned the Andrew Thomas, Tristan Wirfs draft. Well, we also drafted a tackle in that draft at number 10.
It's true.
Jed Wills, who's not in the league currently.
Right.
What can we learn from Jed Wills and why that went that way for us? And then also, how would you grade these guys versus that class? Because that class also had Becton, and there were kind of 4 of them that people thought were all really good. Wirfs ends up going, I want to say, 12, 13, something. He went after us. I know that.
Yes.
We're picking 6 here.
Right.
So how does this group stack with that group? And then just about with a guy like Jed, what do you learn from that as an evaluator?
Yeah, I mean, that group was – I think that group was pretty special, especially just for the 2 guys that have really panned out within that group of Andrew Thomas and Tristan Wirfs, 2 of the best offensive tackles in the NFL. With this group, I think that it's a solid group, and I think that it's starters. I wouldn't put it at the talent ceiling that those guys had from that class. And then, when you talk about Jed Wills, I like Jedrick Wills a lot coming out of Alabama as well. And really, I think there were some durability concerns with him, obviously dealing with injuries. But, when it just comes to the foot speed and being able to handle power, but also not being able to not panicking against finesse moves, I feel like that's something that just never really came along with Wills. It just felt like he was not as in control as he needed to be. And I think that when you look at some of the players that I mentioned, specifically I'll say Mauigoa, they're just, especially this past year, there really wasn't a time where I felt like he was panicked. or that he didn't feel in control. Like, he just plays with a ton of confidence. He plays with a lot of good power. It's funny, I've been having this conversation very recently with a lot of some people who are former offensive linemen, some people who are, covering it from a draft perspective. And everybody kind of focuses on the flashy parts of pass rushing and pass protection, right? They talk about the guys who've got the dip and rip, the bend moves, the speed, like they're just winning from a finesse perspective, and how these offensive tackles, well, does he have quick enough footwork? Can he vertical set? Can he handle these speed rushers? And a lot of the best offensive linemen in the NFL, Teron Armstead is a guy who is obviously one of the best in the NFL for a long, long time, an all-pro, somebody who was on our PFF show for every week of the season this past year. We talked to him consistently, and he's like, guys, it's all about power. Like, it really is. If you can't stop power at the NFL level, like, you're not going to survive. And so when I look at these guys that I feel best about from the offensive tackle position, I look at how Maui Noa handles power. And I look at how there's not a lot of panic to his game at all when he's handling power. And is the foot speed as fast as it is for some like Andrew Thomas or Tristan Wirfs? No. But I think that the way that he handles power, the way that he's in control, that's sort of that like learning lesson that I would take from a Jedrick Wills. It never felt like he became a player who was in control enough of a situation. And when I look at Maui Noa, I feel as though there's so much in control about his game, and he's been a starter for 3 straight years at right tackle for Miami, and he's got the experience, and he's getting better. This past year was the best year he's ever had. He's a younger prospect at 20 or 21 years old. So all of that just makes me feel like you could have confidence in him being the pick at number 6.
So, Trevor, you mentioned draft strategy. If you were Andrew Berry and you have the 3 picks that we have, the 2 ones, let's say we give you the keys to the kingdom. Mm-hmm. How would you navigate this? Trade down, stay at 6, 2 linemen receiver. How would you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, so the trade down factor is always you got to find a dance partner, right? It takes 2 to tango. And if I'm going to sit here and say, well, this isn't the most star-studded draft at the very top, well, then I can't just also say like, oh, yeah, you're going to trade down, because you got to find somebody who'll give you the value that you want.
Got to hope somebody loves Jeremiah Love
or
Downs
or
something
right,
like
or
that.
something
Taylor
like
Downs,
that
something
with them
like that.
sitting at number 6. So, but the way, as much as I really do love the wide receivers, I think the way that I would go about it is I feel like a perfect draft for the Cleveland Browns is, you get Maui Noa at number 6, you get Denzel Boston at 24. And if Denzel Boston's off the board by the time you get to 24, then you're in a situation where trading down becomes a lot easier, right? Teams are the value of what you could get when you're trading down makes a lot more sense. And so maybe you're in a trade down perspective there and you feel pretty good about that. But then honestly, top of, because where do they pick in the second round? Where
39.
is it? It's 39. So then you get to number 39, and at that point, honestly, I'm probably double dipping on offensive line again. I'm going offensive line there, and I'm picking one of the better guys that's left, right? Like if Maui Noa is going to be your offensive tackle, then you get into the beginning of the second round, and you look at guys who might be guards like Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon, right? Is he available? How do you feel about Jennings Dunker as somebody who played offensive tackle at Iowa, but I think he's more of a guard? Like, you get some players like that. I think Vega Owane from Penn State's going to be long gone at that point, but I think there will be offensive line options for them at number 39 that you could feel good about. But to be honest, with those two out of those 3 picks in a perfect world, I'm trying to double dip on offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've been pretty. That's what we wanted. We just want to make sure we get a stud receiver. The Browns, since coming back in '99, have only picked a receiver in the first round twice. Braylon Edwards and Corey Coleman.
Ooh.
That's it. That's exclusive list.
That's
the end of it.
That's an underrated stat because everybody talks about the Green Bay Packers, right? How they hadn't drafted one in the first round since, wasn't it, Javon Walker before Matthew Golden, right? And everybody just talked about that. But
they also had a lot of second-round hits. They did a pretty good job with Devontae Adams. Devontae, and that's funny. That's changing the NFL.
And I mean, let's face it. I mean, like when you have Favre and Aaron Rodgers, like they can kind of make it work with a lot of those guys. So
that certainly helps. I want to go back to this receiver group at 6. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody in this year's class that you grade? Because we were huge Tet McMillan fans on this program. Like I wanted him very badly for this football team.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you like in this draft as much as you like Tet McMillan?
Tyson would be somewhat close for me, but the medicals cloud it entirely. So I can't in all good consciousness say that. The short answer is no. Tet would be my wide receiver 1 in this class as well. Although, again, like if Tyson's medicals check out, I think that this is a guy who can be a major high-impact wide receiver for you. The way that I watch him put defensive backs in conflict, when he is coming off the line of scrimmage, when he is eating up that cushion, and it is just all it takes is one of those moves. Tyson is one of the best wide receivers in college football and in this draft class at running straight at a defensive back, right? Keep making them keep their shoulders square, right? He's not hinting which way he's going one way or the other so the defensive back can sort of like move their shoulders or their hips or cheat a little bit to cut on the route. He's so good at running straight at them, and then the second that he gets right next to this player, boom, the foot goes in the ground, and he creates that crazy
kind
separation.
Kind of like Jackson Smith-Njigba?
A little bit, yeah. And now Smith-Njigba's I think Smith-Njigba's a little bit more savvy, and I think that Jordan Tyson's honestly a little bit more explosive, sharper in his cuts. But yes, to exactly what you're saying, being able to create that consistent separation, it's just that's stuff that you can't teach. People that have the ability to change direction on a dime like that is so rare, even at the NFL level when you're playing at full speed. And it's those moments that make me think, man, if you are fully healthy, you can just really be a difference-making wide receiver in the league. So I think my answer, the long answer would be Tyson's close, but the medicals have to check out for him. So if you include the medicals, then no, Tet would have been my wide receiver one this year.
All right. Trevor, it's great talking.
Yeah,
man.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
so much
Yeah,
for your time.
appreciate you guys having me.
Thank
Greatly
you.
appreciate you.
All right, there you go. Coming up next, we open up that mailbag on a Friday. It's Combine Week presented by Bullseye Event Group, award-winning game day experiences. Visit bullseyeeventgroup.com. And you're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Add more fun to your fandom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today, get 50 back in bonus bets. You place your first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time to open up that mailbag. Get your questions in at Browns_daily or in the YouTube chat. Hello, Gibby.
Hi, gentlemen. How are
buddy.
we?
I just remembered one other thing. I was just looking through my photos.
Yep.
Another guy I ran into that night at on Wednesday night.
Yep.
Duke Johnson.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Where?
Our old
Former Brown.
former Miami legend. I actually talked with another Miami legend. I said, "Have you guys
Hey.
talked?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, we're working." He wants to get into like scouting and just
that's cool.
Be in the league.
The amazing thing is the list of people you ran into after you got done hanging out with us at midnight
Well, Gibby,
is a pretty remarkable
Built
feat.
different, man.
I
Built
did
different.
feel like this year, I told my wife this, the number of like people at the combine, maybe just because we've been going as long as we have.
Yeah.
But the number of people you know. And I'm like, there's a lot of former Browns staffers.
Yeah. Michael Dunn, former Browns player Michael Dunn was there looking to get in the business as well. We know a lot of people now, Gibby.
There were quite a few. I saw Halfley yesterday. He came over and gave me a little dap as I was walking to the
Oh,
hotel.
that's cool.
Half. Good for him.
He goes, how you doing? I'm like, great.
Yeah, how are you doing? Oh, I'm the head coach of Miami Dolphins. That's going to be pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal.
Sounds like a great place
Pretty good
to be.
setup there, yeah.
How are your state taxes? Oh, wonderful. Don't have them.
Is it warm there all the time? Yep.
Yep.
In fact, it is. It's great.
Even when it's cold, it's still warm.
Still warm.
That's right.
That's right.
You Matt, that's the biggest difference you can go in the league, from living in Green Bay to Miami.
That's right.
Those are your polar opposites right there, in every way.
All he knows is winning.
That's true.
Let's get things started on X. Z, this is from Joe. On your golf match last week,
Oh.
I was on the other end of a similar situation this past summer. Went in as a 9 handicap against a 4 handicap, shot a 34, won by 11 strokes, net, and everyone was calling for my head. True story.
You said he's a 9 handicap who shot what?
A 34.
It's unlikely. It's one that you would probably want to see that, you need to. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. He's going to win when he does that.
Yeah,
And it's a
there's
great
no
round
way
of golf.
around
Take a tip of your cap. B. Rossi came out red hot. I heard the day that after I left, the golf was not as at the same
So he's
high
clutch.
level. And I think when you don't play, it's that first round you're good because you're not thinking about anything. You're not thinking about your swing at all. You're just like
You're just swinging.
You're swinging.
Yeah.
You have no thoughts. It's pure.
I think there's some truth to
And
that.
then when it starts to get like as the round went on and he hit a couple bad, then it started to go to. And then I think the next day was tougher. But yeah, listen, that happens. It's no fun. It's no fun when you're the low handicap and you're playing well. Like I went back through that round, even if I had shot 18 straight pars, which is not the best partner golf. You'd rather have like 3 birdies, 3 bogeys,
Sure.
and 12 pars. But even if I made 18 straight pars, we would have lost. It just when people with getting shots play well, they're going to win.
Yeah.
Greister was not a big fan of Coach Monken's baby blue hoodie. How come Coach Monken was wearing that baby blue hoodie for his presser? Was that an NFL thing? Yuck.
First of all,
Great.
it's a lovely
It was
shade of blue.
Beautiful shade of blue.
Lovely shade of blue.
Accentuated his eyes.
It did. And he actually told the story
On multiple outlets.
on multiple outlets of he had some Nike money left over from Baltimore and went shopping.
I had $500. It was going to expire. I had to buy some stuff.
That actually is relatively common over there, that you see NFL general managers and coaches not wear team issue gear. My hunch is because then that gives them a little bit of cloak of anonymity, whereas if you see them in the gear, then it's like, oh, you are, there's some because that was pretty common. Like around the building, and we'll just use Kevin just because he was here for all these years. I never saw Kevin around the building in anything other than a Browns hoodie and a Browns hat.
Correct.
We would see him at the combine, and oftentimes he would be without a hat, and oftentimes would not wear team issue gear.
Yep.
So I just think it gives you a little bit of cloud of anonymity.
Well, I think we all AB was in blue the day before.
He was. Yeah, he was in
Yep.
bright blue Nike. He had
Yeah.
a Nike quarter zip or something on the day before. Yeah.
Yep.
I have a couple quick ones from Bobby, and then I'll get into the
Bobby!
Hey!
Are athletic testing numbers becoming overvalued in an era that emphasizes scheme fit?
No, I don't think so. And I don't know that this era does emphasize scheme fit. I think one of the things that kind of became in vogue this week over there was scheme agnostic. That's what they're looking for, is scheme agnostic. Like, I think that's why there's a potential that Sonny Styles could go ahead of Arvell Reese. I think Arvell Reese is a 3-4 outside linebacker. But if you play 4-3, then is he just a D-end? Like, what do you
Yeah.
And he's a little small for that. Now,
What did he weigh in at?
was it 248? I don't know, something in there.
I don't know that.
He's basically a mirror of Sonny. They're about
I
the
thought
same.
with the Jets trade, they're taking an edge.
Seemed like it, yeah. So, yeah.
241.
Oh, a little lighter than Sonny, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty light.
He also want to know what's the most overrated metric in Indy.
Probably that 3-cone thing. Or maybe the broad jump. Like, you're never going to do a broad jump.
Let's just say the bench. Like, think of all the guys who have set the records.
Yeah. And most guys that are over there used to be a case where you remember like that story about Durant that he couldn't bench like 135 or whatever.
Yeah.
So there are those type of stories in the NBA, but that didn't really seem to faze him at all.
Had no problem scoring the basketball.
No, he's fine. Yeah.
A couple from our YouTube chat, youtube.com/Browns. Stony Wan, what positions of need can we afford cap-wise in free agency this year? I assume Devin Bush and Tyler Linderbaum will be too expensive. Well, let's hope not.
Tyler Linderbaum will not be a Cleveland Brown. I don't believe, barring something that is now unforeseen to me. Now the Browns have an opportunity to restructure some contracts. They'll have plenty of money to be aggressive, so I think they'll be able to go after pretty much anything they want. I think like a Linderbaum or let's say a Malik Willis, those feel like those will be too rich for the Browns at this time. But they will have enough money for Devin Bush. It's just a matter of, can they allocate that? What's the market look like for Devin Bush? If you get Devin Bush in single digits or 7 figures and not 8 figures, I think there's a good chance Devin Bush will be back. He wants to be back. They want him back. So I think the Browns will have money to be involved. I think if you heard Andrew Berry say this year and then next year they can be really aggressive. This year they're going to certainly address some needs, attack some things, but next year they can be really aggressive.
Greg messages the show, could we get Marvin Harrison Jr. for a third and Cedric Tillman? I don't want to give up Ced Tillman, but a third.
I think it'll be a little richer than that. I know his stock is down. I've talked to some folks about it. Seems like that's a very chaotic situation in Arizona, kind of across the board on him. I don't know what it would take to get him. Is it a 2?
I don't know.
No one's given up anything in 27 to do it. So would it be a 2 this year? Does it take? I don't think it would take a 1.
I don't think it would take a 1.
So I mean, like at 2, I think
he's performed.
A 2 would be something that would be interesting.
Yeah. While Zagura looks into that, one final question here from Browns backers, North Jersey. Besides for the time Bo and Kyler were on the same step, what are your favorite, in parentheses, save for on air, memories from the combine? Perhaps a Mount Rushmore.
Oh, geez.
I mean, Eisen this year.
Eisen this year is 100% on it. I mean, that was one of the that whole thing was just comedy.
I would say Eisen this year. If he's saying that like that because it was a cool moment, because it's like now we know how tall Kyler Murray is.
Yeah.
And we felt like we were on the cusp of that. That could be one. To me, every time Cosell is just like, he is just on the Mount Rushmore of the combine.
Here's the thing with Cosell. Like, what he does, what we do with him on air is awesome. His off-air stuff is even better. Like, you could just he just likes talking ball.
Loves
it. And you could just talk ball with him for 45 minutes and don't even know where the time went.
Yep. And he loves it because we don't go in there with some. It's just organic. He loves it. It's just sort of an organic conversation.
Yeah, he loves that. So that's always a highlight. I mean, me almost dying.
Yeah, you almost dying would be on
that list. Yeah, because I didn't. Would suck if I would have.
Then it would not be on the list. It would be.
I don't know.
I don't think I could ever go back to Indianapolis.
Thank you. It means a lot. Yeah, there's some.
I'm trying to think of what else.
I tell you what's crazy about it is, like,
1 minute,
when I'm leaving there, I'm like, how was that a year? I felt like I was just here. And now we're, like, as you get older and you do this more and more and you knock down another combine, you're like, my God, I feel like we were just here with all of those memories. And now all of a sudden here it is again, gone. So, yeah, we've talked about that before. With this job, when you are doing everything you do around a sport or a team, there's a treadmill effect that happens. And you just put one foot ahead of another, and now the combine's in the books. So, yeah. All right, great stuff. Great stuff out of everybody. That was Combine Week. It was presented by Bullseye Event Group for award-winning game day experiences, visit bullseyeeventgroup.com. And, of course, thank you so much for listening all week long and always to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly.